Hello everybody, here's Anna, also known as Anna Knitter, and you can find me and my shop at annaknitter.com. In this episode I show you some finished objects, works in progress, I will answer some InstaKnitNight questions, and I will talk about my new Opal collections in the shop, if you're interested. So, if you want to skip some topics I talk about, you can do this because I use timestamps for every chapter, so you have a chapter for finished objects, for works in progress and so on, and you can just skip to whatever chapter you would like to watch, or you can skip the chapters you don't want to watch. Let's start with finished objects. I have 3. 2 knitting finished objects and 1 crochet. I will show you the crochet finished object first, and I will insert a photo here as well, so I don't have to throw it over my head. It is a cowl for make and pray. This is a crochet cowl. If you are interested, in Germany we call this loop. I don't know why we have an English word for it in Germany that isn't correct in the mother tongue, not in the mother tongue, I'm sorry, in the original language, so because you wouldn't say loop, it's but we call this a loop. And I used 50% acrylic, 50% cotton yarn by Lana Grossa. It's called, I think, Mech Cotton. I talked about the yarn in the last episode, and it's, I think, Aran weight. I'm very bad at these yarn weights because we in Germany don't use them. I think they are very helpful, but in Germany we don't use them, so I'm not so used to them, especially when they are thicker than decay, because I usually don't use that thick yarn because it's very exhausting on the hands to work with. But I think this is Aran weight. I have a Ravelry project page for that, and you find all the details there. I crocheted this with a 4.5mm hook. Yeah, 4.5. And I crocheted it alongside a tutorial by Claudetta Crochet, which is linked in the description box below. Here you see the stitch. It's made out of puff stitches, I would say. I would call them now. Very, very easy. Here you see I crocheted it together, but I think it looks like a design feature. It's very pretty. On the other side it's pretty as well. There you have this chain row. So actually I really like it both sides. You can wear it proudly showing this seamed edge. The only thing that it's not bothering me, but I have to try to find out a solution if I don't want to achieve that look. It sucks in at the ends. I don't know how I could describe it better, but you see there where I crocheted it together, it's a little bit more narrow, and I crocheted very loosely. I used it's not the slip stitch I used, I think I used the half double crochet to make it very loosely, and I used a loose tension and so on. But I think it's actually, it could be meant to be. So not by accident. And the parts of fuchsia and pale pink aren't the same depth or length, because it wouldn't work out the way I wanted it. So, and I was forced to do, this is for example 4 rows of pale, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is 5 as well. The main fuchsia parts are 10 rows, and to prevent it from being too wide, I had to do less rows. But I had to do another pale pink, so I don't have a 20 row strip of fuchsia. I hope that makes sense. But actually, it's good that I'm forced to do a little bit of asymmetrical things in striping and other design elements, because that makes it prettier oftentimes, like wearing the shawl like this or a little bit off. Sometimes, not in most of the cases, but sometimes asymmetric is pretty. Usually I'm against asymmetric, but sometimes it can be very pretty. So, and this is for make and pray, so you could call it a prayer cowl. I washed it, I will put it, I prayed while I was crocheting this, and it will be blessed over Easter by the priest I'm working with, and then he will hand it over to a person who needs comfort and blessing and prayer. And I'm looking forward to hearing his stories. So I think I can put it there. My next finished object is a pair of socks you saw already. It's a pair of vanilla socks made out of Opal yarn. The main colorway is from the Sweet Kiss collection. I think it's 11393 or 292. It's sold out on my website, but I'm sure you can get it somewhere else. The contrasting color is called pink, and it is available in my shop. You can see it there. And I didn't buy it in the collection. I received it in the Opal subscription, and it's from March 22. So I received it a year ago, because today is March, I'm not sure, 15, 14, I don't know. Yeah, so this was a lot of fun to knit. It's funny because I usually don't like green so much, because it's not a color that suits me well. I mean, it's not important for a pair of socks, but you feel drawn to colors that usually look good on you. And green doesn't look good on me because I'm so pale and blonde, and doesn't look good on me. And so I know someone in our family who loves green. And when I see a green color in my subscription or somewhere, I think, oh, that could be for person X. And when after I finish these green projects, I think, oh, pretty. Actually, one green pair of socks I kept for myself because it was like a highlighter pink. You can see it here. So maybe I can become friends with the color green. And like the crazy sock lady Kay, I added a few rounds, I think three rounds of contrasting color at the cuff. Then I used it for the heel and for the toes, because I think it picks up the pink in this very well. Amazing. So this will be in my treasure chest for gifts for some time. And now I will show you the next and last finished object of this episode. I haven't blocked it yet, and I think it needs a block to look a little bit more neat and precise, but it's so stinking cute. It took me so long to make, not to actually knit it, but to start it. It's for the pattern battle in the Opal subscription group on Ravelry. I knit a whole pair of socks, you can see them here already. And after that I wanted to do my project for the pattern battle, because I wanted to use a leftover and not break into a new yarn. I don't know why, it's stupid, because you can start your sock at every point of the color repeat of a sock yarn, but that's how my brain works, I guess. And here it is. It is a mini sock yarn sweater ornament. On the hanger I used for another sock yarn ornament. Please suggest in the comment section down below where I can get hangers, so made ones I don't have to do. And if you can't suggest these, please suggest some a good wire to make these hangers, because it's not so pretty. Yeah, I used the wire I always use for my Advent wreath. I always forget how to pronounce that word. You know what I mean. And that's not so perfect because it's too hard. I can't make straight lines. Straight. I don't know, you know, it's very curvy. But let's talk about this tiny little sweater. I think it turned out great. With some self-striping yarns, it can be difficult. For example, I think it wouldn't be so pretty if I started with this part here at the collar. I was just lucky where I started to knit the leftover. I mean, you can pay attention and unwind or cut or until you reach the part that would be pretty. But I think it's really perfect because after, you know, after dividing for the sleeves, or separating for the sleeves, this Fair Isle came, and then it comes again right before the ribbing for the hem. I think just that worked out quite fine. And I had to grab another leftover from my sock to knit the last, I would say, 5 rounds on the second sleeve. I cut out this light blue yarn in my socks. I didn't use this light blue because I used another similar light blue for the contrasting heel and cuff. Heel, cuff and toe. And it would be right next to each other and that wouldn't look nice. So I had not only the big leftover after finishing the pair, I also had a tiny little leftover where I cut out this one. So when I ran out of the blue yarn on the second sleeve, I didn't have to cut out the whole repeat up to the next spot where the blue comes in the big leftover. I could use the small leftover. Did this make sense to you? I hope so. Because that's something I pay attention to. I wouldn't like it to be completely random and the sleeves completely different. That's not pretty in my opinion, so I'm very happy how this turns out. It turned out. Here is my first sweater I knit last December. This needs a block too. And it's much smaller because it's thinner. Do you see that? It's thinner than the Opal yarn. Here you see it. And here. And that is why I don't count rounds when I knit socks. I always measure them because you will get a tinier sock or a tighter sock with another sock yarn, like for example West Yorkshire Spinners is so thin. I don't know why, because the yardage is the same, but it's so thin. And Opal is quite, it's not thick, but it's, it feels like there is air between the threads that are twisted. It's not twisted so tightly. And that is why I always measure and never count rows or rounds when it comes to knitting socks or sweaters or so on. Yeah, this is so cute. I'm not sure what I will do with this. Will I put it on the Christmas tree? The color is not so perfect for the Christmas tree. Will I make a garland? Will I give it away as an ornament for friends? I haven't decided yet. I really would like to keep it because it's so cute. And it was so much fun. The first one wasn't so much fun because the first time I try a pattern like this, few stitches on tiny needles, and it's fiddly. I usually need one attempt to figure everything out. And the second, it's like with making pancakes, you know? The first one is always rubbish, or usually. And the second one is usually prettier. It's flying off the needles fluently, if that makes sense. And now I really want to make more of these. It's a nice way to use leftovers. This takes approximately 5 grams of yarn. That's not much. So you can make, I think, 5 gram approximately. I didn't weigh it, but the pattern said so. So that means if you have an Opal Mini that has 10 grams, you can make 2 sweaters out of this. And they will look differently because the color repeats are longer, because they are small balls, but are not designed for small circumferences. You know, there are some sock yarns specifically designed for toddler socks or baby socks or so. And they make sure that the repeats aren't too long. You know, a stripe that is like this on a sock for myself would be half a sock for a baby, you know? So because the Opal Minis are always taken from the big Opal skeins, because of that you can make 2 different sweaters. If the colorway is not only, for example, like the Country collection, it's more of a speckled yarn, so you can make 2 identical sweaters. But the Van Gogh collection, for example, so this one, has longer repeats. Okay, that's my last finished object, and it's so cute. And I'm looking forward to block it, to see how the difference is. Maybe if I'm quick enough with everything, and not too quick with the post-production, I can insert a photo pre and after blocking. And I'm looking forward to post it in the Harry Potter Knitting and Crocheting House Club and the Opal subscription group. Because I have time to post my entry for the Knitalong until the end of this month. So, okay. But I had 3 months, okay? And it took me 2.5 months to knit this tiny thing. Yeah. Anna. Let's see, what's the next chapter? The German word of the day. The German word of the day today is Dankbarkeit. Dankbarkeit is the German word for gratefulness. To be grateful for something is being dankbar. I am dankbar. Ich bin dankbar. Die Dankbarkeit. The gratefulness. I like gratefulness because it can change your world, your perception of the world, the way you view the world. There is always something to be grateful for, even in the darkest times of your life. And I know what I'm talking about because I went through a lot of dark times in my life. And it's funny because when I usually don't talk about all my struggles I went through, so some people don't know what I had to struggle through, because, you know, you don't, yeah, usually you don't do that. Like, here's my story, here's my war story when I had this and that and got divorced and had this and, but yeah, sometimes people asked something and I see, oh no, at the time I have to admit I had this or that, and I can help them if I tell them my story and they say, what, you had this in, I don't know, 2015? I didn't notice it at all. You looked so happy and content and so on, and I didn't know that you were struggling so much. I experienced this all the time. I was very, very sad during several times of my life, but people didn't notice it. Now, I didn't act like everything is fine, and as soon as I came home, I was only crying or so. But maybe because my parents not taught me, but they lived like that, and I learned it just by watching them dealing with her lives, and their lives aren't easy and weren't easy. I learned to see at least some things every day that I'm grateful for. And then I stumbled upon the 6 Minutes Diary, and it really changed my world, and it improved my life dramatically. Sometimes you have mean colleagues, for example. You tell them stories, you tell them something you achieved, and they make you feel bad because they envy you. And your whole day can be ruined. But if you concentrate only on that, yeah, you will be miserable. But if you are used and if you're trained to see the things you can be grateful for, and that can be the very delicious coffee in the morning, the beautiful weather, the friend that texted you and invited you to have a pizza together. If you are trained to see these things and to focus on these things, this one mean colleague isn't important anymore. You know what I mean? And there is a scientific background for that. Training gratefulness and focusing on the things you can be grateful for causes something in your brain. It's also the way you can battle anxieties. I did this in therapy. I had some things I was anxious about because I told myself all the time, oh, I'm anxious about that. What if this would happen? What if this happens? What if? And your brain, or your, how is the consciousness called? That subconscious, I think, can't make a difference between real experiences and the things you make up in your head. So if you just think about what went well in your past, or even make up stories. For example, instead of saying, oh, I'm so anxious about this and that situation because it could turn out, and now all the horror stories. If you didn't do this, but you prefer to think, okay, I'm a little anxious about the story, but it can turn out great. It can turn out like this, and then you make up a story that is awesome, and you do this all the time. Your brain can't make a difference. Your brain thinks you have achieved a lot of things, and you get self-esteem, and you get less anxious, and you think positive about the things. And the awesome thing about transferring it now to gratefulness, the amazing thing about it, if you do this with the things you are grateful for example, think of 3 things every day that you are grateful for, you start to see more of these things. Isn't that amazing? That's just how our brain works. And the 6 Minutes Diary has an introduction on, I think, 80 pages or so, why it works like that and how we can trick our brain to feel better. So if I start to think of 3 things every day that I am dankbar, grateful for, I will see more and more and more of these things every day. And that helps us to feel better. So gratefulness, Dankbarkeit. You can keep a diary only for things you are grateful for, or maybe you want to do the 6 Minutes Diary, or I think writing down the things helps a lot. I don't know why, but it simply does. It's like saving it even better, like having a backup, not only thinking about, oh, this is nice, I'm grateful for that. You might forget that, but writing it down with a pencil on a piece of paper, I don't know, it's something like a backup for me. And that is my German word of the day, Dankbarkeit, gratefulness. Gratefulness is making happy, I promise, even in the darkest of your times. I'm not just making it up, I experienced it, and I'm still experiencing it, because we will always have dark times in our lives. Always, because life is not easy. And some of us have very, very dark periods in our lives, and then we need more than just being grateful for things, but at least it will improve your situation. Okay, now we come to works in progress. My first work in progress is in this bag. It's still the Christmas bag because it's my minis bag. I attached this with minis in my memories because I received many pretty minis when I received this bag. And it's my Cozy Memories blanket. As you know, I'm doing these color blocks, and at the end I attach them to each other. And at the moment I'm knitting the pink rose color block. And I am at the 12th square of 25 at the moment. I really don't know how much I knit since last time showing. I guess I knit all of these 5 and this, and I started this. But maybe you only saw the first 4, so that means I also did this. And the only color way I can tell you the name of, or not the name, but at least the brand, is this, because this is an example of a baby sock yarn with short repeats. It's my first regia. My first regia are, I think, 20-gram balls of yarn with color repeats designed for little feet and for little socks. And this blanket makes me talk about the Daily Dedication 2023. As you know, I started in January the Daily Dedication for the whole year. It's a knit-along / make-along. Make time for something every day. Set yourself a goal like 10 minutes every day, Bible reading or knitting, or maybe 30 minutes or something. And I was so good in January. Even though my dog was sick and I had to go to the vet like every day 2 weeks, and I had to care for him at home and preventing him from opening his wound again, and so on and so on. And then I was hit by a 2 weeks long migraine attack that was very bad. I was so good. And in February, wow. So my goal was listening to the Bible for 30 minutes every day, because then I could finish the Bible in 1 year. And while I do that, working on my crochet rainbow blanket. Here is a, I think, bad photo, but here's a photo. Maybe I can even insert a video that looks a little bit neater. So I realized that doesn't work so well, and now I know why, because I was working on the daily dedication and my informal daily dedication with this, because I wanted to knit a square every day, at least 5 days a week, so during the weekdays. And I also wanted to work on all my other things, and that was too much. So I think the solution is finishing the first blanket, then the next one, and then the next one, because my goal is to finish 3 of my blankets this year. And first this one, because I started this in 2016 and it's ridiculous. I mean, really. I am trying to do 5 squares a week. It's not daily, but I didn't do the Bible thing because I worked out a new prayer plan for me. And I'm reading the Bible every day, but not the 30 minutes in chronological order. I wanted to use an adverb, but it didn't work, sorry. So I still have to figure out that one. But I'm giving... I am more focusing on the prayer and reading the daily gospel at the moment, because I think it's more important than just achieving the goal, finishing the Bible within a year, because it's... Yeah, maybe the motivation was the wrong one. You know what I mean? You can set yourself the goal. I want to read the Bible every day because it will influence myself in a better... It will influence my life and improve it, and I want to listen to the Word of God and so on. Or you can be like me and say, oh, I want to achieve this thing, you know? I want to say I did it, and that's the wrong motivation. So I try to... focus on the prayer and the daily gospel and so on, and my devotional reading, I think it's the word. I'm reading the, I don't know how you pronounce it, the Philotea by, we call him Franz von Sales, you maybe call him Franz de Sale, or only de Sale. He's awesome. So I'm reading this at the moment as my daily devotional, and the gospel and so on. So I'm not sure. Maybe you want to help me out or tell me just tell me what you think about this. Maybe you can help me. Maybe you say, no, Anna, stick to the plan, or no, adapt it to whatever fits better for your spiritual life or the daily tasks you have to accomplish. Yeah. But it's my praying situation is so much better. I'm praying the rosary every day. I'm reading the gospel every day. I'm having some little prayers I do every day. So that works very, very well. And I think it could be more important than this crucial 30 minutes of Bible reading, even if you only check it off and you don't have anything from it. That sounds weird because you always have something from Bible reading, but you know what I mean, right? You can read only the letters, or you can really concentrate on it and so on. But I don't want to give up this whole Bible in 1 year thing. So still reconsidering at the moment, trying to do the daily dedication, 1 blanket after another, not 2 at the same time or even 3. And the Bible thing needs to be reconsidered. Still in the process. So that is a work in progress. The other work in progress, what is the other one? Let me see. Oh yeah, okay. The other work in progress is my second sock for my new pattern. So here is my new sock pattern, Jacob's Ladder, because it looks like letters. Really, they look like it. I was knitting it and thought, oh, this is such a nice texture. This is so much fun. It's squishy and pretty, and you can knit it with every yarn and so on. And after I finished it, I thought, okay, how can I call it? Hey, wait, that looks like letters. Why not Jacob's Ladder? Because I love the story about this story when he was sleeping and seeing the angels ascending and descending on the ladder, grounded on the earth, going up towards the heaven, and God is speaking to him. It's lovely. There is so much you can interpret. So you can find so many meanings in this one Bible story, and the church fathers spoke a lot about this. About this story. And when I did retreats about the Lectio Divina, we went in depth into this text, and yeah, it means a lot to me, the Jacob's Ladder. And here is the pattern. And this is the Opal subscription yarn I received, but I suggest knitting it in the beauty collection as well, because I have it on the beauty base, which is in my shop right now as well. And this will be so lovely on your hands. I will show you a full skein with a tag. It looks exactly the same, but is oh so soft because of the ingredients. It's in my shop. This color I used for my pattern. It's the colorway is called in German relaxation, because it's the beauty like spa collection, and it's relaxation, and the number is 11303. And it has vitamin E and you know, the Austrian plant you aren't allowed to pick, Enzian in it, and that makes it so soft. It's not only soft like, oh yeah, like merino yarn, yeah, it feels like merino yarn, but also working with it, your hand, even now when I'm touching it a little bit more, your hands get so smooth and like after using hand balm, but without the moisture and stickiness. Yeah, so you can get this in my shop. So this is the Jacob's Ladder. Maybe I should put it onto a sock blocker, but I think no. I will insert a photo here. And you can see the squishiness. And if you buy the pattern, you will get a little tutorial. Tutorial is maybe a little bit too much to call it, but a video demonstration on how to knit this, this stitch, this faux cable. Although it's not a faux cable, it's a cable, but you don't have live stitches and you don't use a cable needle. So, I don't know. And there is a little video of me showing it with very thick needles and thick yarn if you can't figure out what the written instructions mean. Yeah. And this is a Christmas present for a friend as well. I'm very good about finishing all the Christmas presents lately. Let me see. Are there other? Yeah, I didn't work on my fingerless mitts and I didn't work on my pot holder, so there are no other works in progress other than my cotton blanket, but it's, you know, I think I worked on it. I worked 2 rows on it. It's not worth showing. Then I want to quickly show you the Van Gogh and the Pretty collection. The Pretty collection was in my shop already, but I was able to grab my hands. I was able to grab my hands on it, I hope, again. So, because it was sold out quite quickly, so I thought maybe you want to want to have them again in my shop. And here they are. As you see, they are very heavy, sparkly, and I like it very much. But they are as soft as Opal always is. This is my favorite. I kept one for myself. This is very much fun. I think this could be a great yarn for my God's Promise pattern. I show you here. I used another colorway. It was in the Opal subscription, but I think all of these, but especially these 2, are great for this pattern. Yeah. This is very much fun. It's the one you bought the most yet, or so far. This is very nice. Also great for husbands. Well, no, not the sparkle base, right? No, I was going to say the red is a little bit more interesting to work instead of only gray and blue. But now I think no, my husband wouldn't wear sparkle socks. Sorry, so for you. And this one. That's a very springy color. Yeah. And now quickly the Van Gogh collection. Many people were freaking out in a positive way about this collection, because it seems like you can't get it so easily in the US. This is my favorite. One of my 2 favorites. Here you see on the tag the picture by Van Gogh that was the inspiration. Café Terrasse am Abend. Le Café le Soir in French. So the coffee terrace. Now I know you have another word for terrace as well. Tommy was asking me, what does this word mean? And I said, oh, that's another word for terrace, but I've forgotten it now. Not porch, another word. Well, coffee terrace at the evening. And this is very famous, and I had many Opal minis, and I was trying to figure out which colorway it is, and now I know it's this sunflower painting. Vase with sunflowers is the name. This one. This is very much fun, very cheery. On my website you see how they knit up. This one. And now the last 4. My second favorite is this one, it's Starry Night. And I can't help myself. I think I knit it before, and maybe only as an Opal mini, but I had this colorway in my hands already. And you liked this one very much. I sold many of these green ones, and it is inspired by this painting. And this painting is called Die Brücke von, oh my gosh, how to pronounce this French word. I won't even try it. The French language is so, I don't want to say weird, but it is. And, oh gosh, so many French words. Das Restaurant de las... No, I won't embarrass myself now. It's some kind of restaurant. I started to learn French at some point, but I gave up. I wasn't interested enough to work through this. Okay, that is the sleeping room. Van Gogh's sleeping room. Or bedroom, you say bedroom, I'm sorry. Sleeping room would be the word-by-word translation, because we say Schlafzimmer, sleeping room. The room for sleeping. Okay, that's that. Ah, I love Opal yarn. And now we come to Knitalongs. Knitalongs first. Okay, I mentioned the daily dedication 2023 already, so please go on with it, and I try to figure out how I can go on. I am already working on my blankets, but I have to figure out how I do the Bible thing. 2023. So that means for the whole year, set yourself a goal, what you want to do daily. You can adapt it to your ever-changing life, daily life. So no worries. And use the hashtag Daily Dedication 2023 on Instagram and let me know what you do. And the second knit along is another like year-long knit along, but it changes every month. It's Anna's Knit Club. Every month we have a new prompt, like a book club has a new book every month. And sometimes the prompt is only we all work something in this specific color, or we all work this kind of pattern, or we all do this kind of item. And this month, in March, we all make small household items. So it can be a coaster, a pot holder, a doily, this thing for around mugs. Is it a mug cozy? I don't know. Not big blankets or something. Really small household items, dishes, and makeup removers, and face cloth, and so on. So these are our knit-alongs, and we use the hashtag Anna's Knit Club on Insta. But if you want to be a little bit more in our community and you want to chat and exchange pattern ideas and so on, you are very welcome in our Telegram group. It's a chat, so a messenger. An app for your phone or your, I think also tablet, and you can use the browser version as well, like WhatsApp, just better with more features. And we not only talk about the monthly prompts, we have different threads, just like in a forum, and we talk about pretty much everything. And it's a very nice place to be because it's a politics-free and family-friendly zone, and it will stay like that. And now we come to InstaKnitNight questions, because last time I was already, the podcast was already very long, and that means we answer them this week. I have 3 questions. I found them when I was browsing through the hashtag InstaKnitNight. The lady who invented the InstaKnitNight is passed away, I think 3 weeks ago or so, and a friend of her, she will keep it in her loving memory and will come up every week on Thursday with a new prompt. It's actually a fun thing to do. Post your current project that fits to the prompt with your beverage of choice and share what you're working on. For example, one question was, where is your favorite place to knit? And now, if you read this on a Thursday or Friday, for me it's always InstaKnit morning, because I see the prompts when I awake. Friday mornings. My favorite place to knit, you would take a photo of your spot with your beverage and your current projects, for example. My favorite place to knit, I think I don't have a favorite place anymore. I had my cozy chair here in this room because it didn't fit. We didn't have enough space in the living room because we had another sofa. Now that the chair is gone, I can't knit here anymore. It's not so cozy. But here is the light so perfect. It is so, I can see the meadow and the trees, and it's always very bright. Our living room is not that bright. So now that I don't have this knitting space anymore because I need it for the shop things, I really have to think. Most of the times I'm knitting on the sofa or the chair in the living room. I knit everywhere, I knit in the kitchen while I'm waiting for something in the oven or something. But I usually knit in the chair or on the sofa. But is that my favorite place where to knit? Well, I guess I have to say that. In the summer or in the spring, I also like to knit on the balcony. That's nice. Yeah, so living room. And I think I prefer the chair because I have a better, is it posture? I can sit straight but cozy at the same time. If you hear noises, I'm very sorry, but we got new neighbors and they built a house and you might hear that. The second question, what fiber arts do you enjoy? Oh yeah, so many. I love them all. I love knitting, crocheting, cross-stitching, weaving. I don't weave that much and I don't cross-stitch that much, but I enjoy them very much. I really like I haven't done this in ages, but we say knüpfen. That will be word by word translated knotting. This is, you have a hook with a movable closing thing and you take pre-cut yarn and knot it onto it looks like very big and stiff Aida. Yeah, and you do this and then you create pictures with it. So I think it's like making a carpet, but usually these are pillows. I did this when I was a teenager. It was so much fun. My grandma did this too. And so what else? I tried spinning. I'm not good at it enough to say it's fun. I really enjoyed as a kid making these friendship bracelets. You know, it's Knüpfen as well called in Germany or in German. Are there more fiber things? I think the most is knitting and crocheting. This is both, I think, at the same. I like it the same. And then cross-stitching, I think. Yeah, but I have to be in the mood for that. There are things in my life I do always, and then the rest of the time, of my spare time, I have phases. For example, 2 months a year I'm coloring every single day, or then I will do cross-stitching every single day or so. But I will always knit or I will always crochet, you know? And the last question, what good happened to you today? So when I answered this InstaKnitNight on Insta, I was very happy that so many people registered for Make and Pray. I think we are 16 ladies now who are participating in Make and Pray, my charity group. But if I had to answer it today, so what happened good to me today, so we can practice the Dankbarkeit, gratefulness, there are many things, great things that happened to me. For example, I managed to pray the rosary on my first Gussie round. I love it when I not get it done. I don't know how to say it in English in a better way, but I'm so happy when I can invest my time already in the first half of the day for these important things, because it's such a great start into the day. And we have lovely weather. It's cold, but it's very sunny. That's happened to me as well. Or I awoke to the most lovely husband on earth. That happened to me today. And what else? Yeah, I think that's enough. See, 3 things I can be grateful for. It's lovely. And I was able to make the time to film this podcast. That's nothing that happened to me. I made it happen. Sometimes we have to make things happen, you know? We can't always wait for things to happen to us. Sometimes we have to make it happen. And most of the times we can do. Yeah. And with these words, I will end this episode. I am wishing you a lovely weekend, and I hope you can make time for the things you enjoy and make you happy, like knitting and crocheting. Make it happen and try to be grateful for a few of these things, and it will change your life. Happy knitting, and we see each other in 2 weeks. Bye!